10 or so, where if you are a Nigerian business, for you to set up in Ghana, the Ghanaian authorities did say at that point, Nigerian businesses should have $300,000 to set up. So I don't know if we're coming back to that era. But I just needed to say that because that's the news I'm getting right now. Let's see how it goes. So welcome, Doctor.
Nigeria and Ghana are what in Hausa they call Hassan and Husseini.
What's that?
They're supposed to be like twins. But sometimes the Ghanaians behave in a very funny way. And we should not descend to that level because obviously what they are doing is not in conformity with the laws of ECOWAS on the free movement of goods and services and people, you know. Obviously, anybody who has gone there and stayed more than 3 months should regularize, but they should not impose discriminatory policies. It is very wrong, and we should take them up on that.
And they're also, in a way, protecting their own business environment, too. You know, because I was also reading over the weekend that in Ghana, I think they're repatriating over 60 Nigerian prostitutes. That came out over the weekend back to Nigeria. They are bringing back about 60 Nigerian prostitutes from Ghana. That was the news also over the weekend. So isn't Ghana also, you know, trying to protect their own environment, bearing in mind that, you know, as they say, anywhere you find a Nigerian, the Nigerian person takes over.
No, I've been to Ghana. Ghana is like second home to me. And I can tell you, they have a mentality that makes them not to prosper as much as Nigerians. A typical Igbo trader will go and open a shop in, you know, in Osu. This is one of the upmarket business districts, in Osu. He opened a market in Osu. And, you know, if he's selling this biro for 2 cedis, you can offer him 1 cedi. You bargain with him and he will accept, you know, maybe 90 cents. The Ghanaian will actually feel very irritated that we should even bargain at all. They want to make 300, 400% profit, anything. And that kind of greed, Igbos don't have it, and other Nigerian traders don't have it. And so their goods sell faster, and before you know it, the Ghanaians becoming very jealous. I've been there many times. I've actually tried and tested myself, just like out of curiosity. And this is really what I find. That is why the Nigerians tend to do very well wherever they go. And the Ghanaians don't have that kind of business savvy. They don't have it. And then they get envious when others make it more than them. They then become, you know, they become jingoistic. And that is very dangerous. We went through that before in the early 60s when Kofi Buzia sent away almost 1 million Nigerians. They had to leave their homes, their assets. In the early 80s, Buhari retaliated. And when they repatriated, this Ghana must go syndrome came up. And of course, the Ghanaians felt deeply humiliated. And I suspect they've never really recovered from that trauma. And we need to put that thing in the past and have genuine and good relations. I get a feeling that some Ghanaians have a complex about Nigerians, but I don't think Nigerians have a complex about Ghanaians.
So let's see, because the National Association of Nigerian Traders stormed the ECOWAS Secretariat. That's what I'm getting right now at about 9:30 a.m. This morning over the alleged victimization of Nigerian traders in Ghana. So let's hope that our authorities will listen.
And also, Nancy,
and let's see what happens.
Nigeria pays 3/4 of the budget, of the operating budget of ECOWAS. And a lot of Nigerian staff complain of serious discrimination and lack of promotion in an organization that will... Americans would never allow such a thing. You know, when you're funding something, you must get your full value for whatever you're funding. And that is a big problem. I've been to the Secretariat. Sometimes you see attitudes that are very shocking. Attitudes that are very, very shocking. And I ask myself, is this what we're using our money for? And no, it's not good enough. We should continue to fund ECOWAS, but we must demand value for money. And we must demand respect, commensurate with our status.
All right, let's move over to other things. Where should I start from? The elections in Osho State. Let's start from there. Would we say that vote buying and vote selling has, you know, been minimized since the hue and cry came to being, but there were also allegations of vote buying, vote selling. I saw some videos over the weekend
Yes.
over people writing their names for 2,000 naira and all
Yes.
of that. Are we really treading a very dangerous path?
No doubt, Nancy, we are going through a very dangerous territory. Look, there's money politics everywhere. It's big business. But the recent trend, especially what we saw in Ekiti, was very alarming. And it also took place in Osun. But not only that, last week, we were told that some people very high up in government actually went to Nyanya market and were doling out 10,000 naira.
That's trader money scheme.
Sorry?
The vice president, the scheme, trader money, which the federal government has.
Yes. Well, it should be a general thing, and it should not be specific, and the timing looks like, you know, a lot of people read money. In fact, even the people that collected that money said, we were being bribed. We'll take their money, but we'll never vote for them. That's what people are saying. So the way it looks is not looking very healthy. And unfortunately, we feel that INEC should do more in order to stem the tide of this very dangerous trend. It is very unhealthy for our democracy, and it makes the whole process look very, very, very clumsy.
The question now would be, what kind of leadership should Nigerians be yearning for? And what kind of leadership should Nigerians deserve? I think is what noteworthy for me to say this morning. You told me last week that you are now entering the political ring.
Yes.
For those that don't know.
Exactly.
Dr. Malafia is now a presidential aspirant.
That's right.
Of ADC.
ADC, African Democratic Congress. But let me make it clear, Nancy, you know, you and I have come a long way. And I'm a professional economist on this kind of thing. For me, I'm still a professional. And I've decided to throw my heart into the ring because, to be very honest with you, Nancy, in my heart of hearts, I don't believe this country will survive if we continue on this track. This country will collapse.
What track do you mean? Are you saying if President Buhari comes back again?
Well, you could put it that way. What I'm saying is that if the current trends of do you know how divided this country is? Divided along religious lines, divided along regional lines, divided along ethnic lines. The divisions in this country are deeper than ever before in the history of this country, short of the Civil War years. And this bad blood has been generated by politicians, has been generated by the tribalization of politics and the regionalization of politics and appointments, especially in the security sector. It makes a whole section of Nigerians to feel completely alienated. They no longer feel that this is their government. They no longer trust what the government does. And they believe that their lives are in danger if they continue like this. Whether true or not, that is enough to generate very deep-seated problems. I believe some of us have the solutions. Number one, we have no ethnic or religious sentiments. Poverty is poverty everywhere, from Kauranamoda and Katsina to Bayelsa and Yanagwa. Poverty afflicts all our people equally. In fact, it's even worse in the north. So we need true Nigerians who believe in Nigeria as a country, who love our people equally, and who are ready to stand up and be counted. I'm not going there for the money. I'm not going there for the vainglory. I'm not going there even for the vanity or for the ambition. I'm going there because I believe that it is a call of destiny to save this country.
So, in essence, this is a yes or no answer. Has Buharinomics failed? Just like HSBC I don't know if you read the report.
It has failed. It failed disastrously. It has not worked at all because we were growing for 10 years at an average of 7%. Today, we're wobbling between -1.5 to 1 point something percent. That is not growth at all. And in addition to that, in fact, it's not growth at all. It's still negative growth because if you look at it, our annual demographic growth rate is
it's over 3 points, over 3%, 3.2 actually.
Exactly, thereabout. So if we are growing at 1.8, 1.5, we're still negative because you subtract that 3.2.
1.5 3.2 minus 1.
Exactly. So that's, it's negative growth. In fairness to the government, and in fairness also to CBN, the Anchor Borers program has helped because we're almost getting to the point of self-sufficiency in rice. We're not yet there, but we're getting there. And in fact, according to data from Ministry of Finance and NBS, the importation, the food bill is easing up somehow. So this is good news. But for the rest of the economy, you see, and you know this as much as I do, Nancy, the sentiments matter. How people feel can affect the economy, can affect the stock markets. And people feel that this country is going in the wrong way, that this country has derailed from its destiny and its collective purpose. We have agendas, very dangerous agendas, some of it inspired by foreign forces and with their own, what they want to do, what they want to see Nigeria become. The people of this country don't like it, they don't want it, and they feel it's a very dangerous trend, that this does not represent who they are and what they want to become. It is those kind of people that we speak for people who have been traumatized by this country. We have become the kidnap capital of the world. People don't even report it anymore. In fact, they don't go to the police because they can come back for people 2-3 times. A friend of mine, a retired director from the central bank, was kidnapped 3 times. Each occasion, his family had to cough out all his retirement he had to give them. What kind of country is that? Just last week, the daughter of a family friend, they lined them up in just Nasarawa State here. Her husband works in the Navy. She's from Plateau. The husband works in the Navy in Bayelsa. She was coming home on holiday. They stopped their vehicle, lined them up with her babies, and they were cutting everybody's head until they came to her, and she started praying and reciting Psalms 91. And that is how something came out of the blues, frightened them, and they all ran away. There were 30 of them. And there were police not far away watching everything with their eyes.
Nasarawa State?
Yes. What kind of country is this, Nancy? What kind of country? I will stamp it out by fire, by thunder. Such things, they are my enemies, and I'll fight them and stop them by force, by fire, by thunder. What? So these kind of things, because a government that fails to secure the lives and liberties of its citizens has no business calling itself a government. It is a failure. And Obasanjo said there's no need protecting failure. This is failure.
Do you think that this government also has a say in terms of, okay, there was so much...
Such things are never reported. In fact, they're not reported anymore. They're not reported.
There seems to be a media blackout. There's
a media blackout. And also, there's an atmosphere of fear. One philosopher called it the culture of silence. He's a great Brazilian philosopher and scholar. He called it the culture of silence, where people are so traumatized and so frightened that they are silent. They don't talk anymore. And there's a lot of intimidation going on, psychological and real. So we've become a country governed by fear, and that makes it very unhealthy.
Would you totally give this administration, or would you not even give this administration a pass mark in 1 or 2 things they've done? Have they totally failed?
No. I said
the Anchor Borers program. Yes,
it has helped. Well, up to a point, some of the fundamentals were kind of stabilizing, you know, inflation, interest rates, but just thereabout. The issue is that if they had gotten their act together, and to be honest with you, I'm a friend of this government, and you know, we've been consulted on a whole range of issues. Of course, you give your views and your ideas. Of course, they're not obliged to take any of it. But, you know, I feel that whatever achievements have been overshadowed by this atmosphere of negativity, this atmosphere of deep distrust, because it is a government with a hidden agenda, with a very dangerous and backward religious agenda, and of polarizing our people, privatizing government, and then alienating people, and they feel that it is no longer their government. It is an alien government, not their own government.
Now let's take a look at another brewing issue, which is the minimum wage issue. The NLC has threatened strike. We do know that Nigeria has a minimum wage of 18,000 naira. That's about $50 US right now. A month, not a week.
Yes.
A month. So a Nigerian adult supposedly is supposed to spend 18,000 naira on food, clothing, and shelter.
Yes.
With this imminent strike that the NLC has said it will hold, let's see what happens between today and tomorrow, because I do know that perhaps there will be some kind of consultations that will go on between today and tomorrow. What actually do you think? You know, there was a committee that was set up earlier on in the year, or the I think around April, May, that they did say by September they should come up with a decision and all of that. Where do you see all of this going?
To be honest with you, Nancy, the whole public service in Nigeria has been an exercise in deceit, in collective deceit. The workers are deceiving the government is deceiving the workers. Let me explain what I mean. You and I know that no human being can decently survive on 18,000. I'm sure that's what you fuel your car in a week. Fueling your car, not feeding your family or, you know, paying school fees and so on, but just fueling your car. I'm sure some of our big shots, they fuel their cars at more than that in a week, okay? And then this is what you expect a worker to feed himself with, feed his family with, pay rent with, and still come to work. So most of the time, they don't come to work. That is why the workers are now deceiving the government. Most of the time, they don't come to work. And if they do, they can take their jacket and put it on the chair and then go away, either to hawk granules, or you find some of these women knitting in their office and gossiping with their friends. And when it's 3 o'clock or before 3 o'clock, they pack and go. They are not working because they are not being paid properly. They are not being paid a living wage. So I support workers' rights fully. In fact, I've been intending to write a book on the struggle of the working class in this country. I come from that social democratic tradition. Workers' rights must be supported, but there has to be a negotiated settlement in which there is fairness and equity for everyone. The unions are saying that 50,000 is the basic wage. You know, I think that in the end, they should be prepared to accept something like 40,000. My problem is that, of course, the higher groups will demand even more. But Nigeria is the only country in the world where the lowest salary can be 1,000 times less than the highest salary. If you compare a junior worker in the National Assembly and what the parliamentarians take home every month, you know, millions.
So much disparity.
Exactly. Yes. In all civilized countries, there is a basic minimum beyond which the lowest salaries and the highest salaries cannot be more than. there is a limit.
In developed countries now, we're having living wages and
Yes,
not
we're having
minimum.
living.
Yes.
And by the way, it's been proven. Canada has a minimum wage. The United States had a minimum wage. Bill Clinton brought the minimum wage idea. Many economists even opposed him, especially from the Chicago school, the monetarists. But in the end, they were able to show, he was able to show that in fact it is good for the economy, precisely because it boosts aggregate demand. It reduces poverty.
Then you have purchasing power.
Of people. But we should make sure that we synchronize it in such a way that it does not fuel inflation. Because, Udoji, for example, which was a total disaster, paid everybody money, huge amounts of it. People bought cars, got drunk, and went and killed themselves on the road. Inflation doubled, and so on. So we need a living wage, and we need a fair wage for workers. But we have to prepare everyone to be able to pay for it, all the states to be able to pay it. And by the way, as they do in Britain, the minimum wage in Lagos should not be the same as the minimum wage in...
So they should be stratified?
They should be stratified based on cost of living, no doubt.
Okay, I think we'll leave it at that,
Yes.
Doctor. Thanks for bringing in your perspectives.
Sure,
and I wish you good luck.
Thank you so very much. Thank you very much indeed.
In case you didn't hear it earlier, Dr. Malafia has now entered the political ring. It's been said now that technocrats should also approach the ring and not just leave it for these, is it career politicians or what do they call themselves?
Yes.
But thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much.
All right, I've been speaking with Dr. Obadiah Malafia, who was a former deputy governor at the Central Bank of Nigeria. He is now an aspirant, a presidential aspirant at the African Democratic Congress, isn't it?
ADC.
Yes, ADC. Let's see how that goes. Many thanks for joining us on today's edition of the program. I hope you've made your day. We've made your day. Thank you for investing your time with us today. Please join us again tomorrow on this channel, same time, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. I am Nancy Nnaji. Be the best you can be and be the change that you want to see. Bye now.
Every day,